Do you want to move abroad, but that little loud voice in your head whispers, but I don't speak the language? Well, you are not alone. That fear can be intimidating, but I'm here to tell you that it should never stop you from exploring the world or your dreams. In this video, I'm giving you my ultimate survival guide with the top tools and strategies that will turn that fear into a fun puzzle. By the end of this, you'll be able to walk into any country with confidence. Hi everybody, I'm Kimberly Ann, a solo US expat who moved to Portugal in 2022. In this video, I'm giving you my ultimate survival guide with the top tools and strategies that will turn that fear into a fun puzzle. By the end of this, you'll be able to walk into any country with confidence. First up, your best friend is technology. So before you leave, make sure that you download Google Translate and you set it for use offline. Now, you might have other translation apps that you love, and fine, download those too, but make sure that you have Google Translate. And it's because you can use it not just to type, but you can also use it, well, obviously offline if you don't have Wi-Fi, but the camera function is a complete game changer. And maybe you already know about this, and if so, please feel free to skip ahead, but I had a bunch of friends that didn't know about this. So I'm telling you guys, I love it. I used it when I first moved here. You can point your phone, press the camera button, and translate stuff in real time. Menus, street signs. I use it for Portuguese bureaucracy. That's what I use it for now. But when I first moved here, I used it in the markets because I couldn't make heads or tails out of the difference between laundry detergent or fabric softener, and I did make the mistake and buy the fabric softener. But with the camera app, you can often figure out what you're looking at, which I love. And then you can also take a screenshot of it, and you can zoom in if you can't see, like I've got older eyes, so I can't see small print, but I use it for that, or I even, for the bureaucracy, I look at the screenshot later and I can figure out how to fill out forms. I love it. And then there's also the voice feature. If you don't know that, you can actually have a back and forth conversation with somebody and the app will translate it for you. So I've tried it here in Portugal and I have not been successful. It probably is user error. But in Italy, where I traveled a couple years ago, I had an amazing conversation with somebody. There was an older gentleman at a cafe. He was trying to talk to me. I did not understand him, so I grabbed the voice translate, and I said a couple things in English, and I handed it to him. It translated it. His eyes lit up. I showed him how to use it. He was super excited. He pressed the button. He rattled off 4, 5, 6 sentences in Italian. He handed it back, and we had a 30-minute conversation that way. And as soon as I would say something, he would like reach and grab the phone out of my hand and rattle off some more in Italian. And it was really amazing. We had such a cool conversation. It was super awesome. Like, I found out he was born in the small village where I was, and I learned about his family, and I found out how long he'd been there and other places in Italy that he loved traveling to. And it was just a really cool, genuine connection over a translator, which is super cool. I love that. Number 2, learn the magic 10 phrases. Now, you don't need to be fluent at first. I would hope that you would try for fluency if you're staying in a country, but learning a few key phrases shows respect and makes a huge difference, and locals will almost always appreciate the effort. I can't say 100% of the time, but in my experience, every time the effort has been appreciated. So a few essentials would be obviously hello, goodbye, please, thank you, which is the most important one, excuse me, or I'm sorry, yes, no, and then really important is I don't understand, or I don't understand what you're saying. Or in my case, what I often say is, I'm sorry, can you please repeat that again slower? And I did learn that in Portuguese, and I say that quite often. And when they are able to repeat phrases slowly, I do, not always, but most of the time I can understand them. And then, do you speak English? But in Portugal, and I would assume in some other countries, that's considered extremely rude if you just walk up to somebody and say, fala English. So you have to say, I'm sorry, desculpe, I don't speak Portuguese well, do you speak English? Or, I'm sorry, do you speak English? You can use that as a shortcut, or excuse me. It's almost like if you just say, hey, do you speak English? You know, it's kind of rude. And what I've found, especially in Portugal, is there's a lot of specific ways to ease into a conversation, and it's disrespectful if you text somebody and you don't text hello or good day before you start your text, even if you have a question or whatever, or if you're meeting somebody. If you don't start with hello or good day, it's considered rude. And it's the same way when you're talking to somebody. So you have to say hello, good day, and then you can continue, I'm sorry, do you speak English? Or you can say, I don't speak, whatever language it is, well, do you speak English? Something like that. And then, of course, where's the bathroom? And then really important is, can I have, or I would like to have, and then whatever you're looking for at a cafe, maybe you're pointing at a pastry or you want a coffee. You should learn how to say coffee, and it's not that hard. So oftentimes it's cafe. I shouldn't say it's not that hard because in some languages it might be really hard and I just don't know. But be respectful, learn how to say coffee. When I was in Spain, for example, I was in Barcelona. I've been to several places in Spain, but I was in Barcelona and I asked for a coffee in Spanish, and I was told that I had to say it in Catalan. And so I did. I learned it in Catalan, and I went to the same cafe every day. And by the end, at first they were really gruff with me. And by the end, they were holding my hand and wishing me a good day. And it was really sweet. But I made the effort to learn how to say it the way that they wanted me to say it. So that's obviously important. And then instead of just saying, can I have, or give me, or whatever in the language you're learning, try to find the softer way to say it. May I please have, something like that. So just as an example, in Portuguese, if I would say, can I have, I would say quiero, quiero un café. Can I have a coffee? But that's actually kind of rude. So I would have to say quería, and that means may I have. And it's such a slight difference, but it means the world to the people you're talking to. So I will say quería un café instead of quiero un café. And whatever country you're in, just make sure that you learn the softer, kinder, nicer way to say things, and that'll take you far. Okay? Tip number 3. Before you get to the country you're either moving to or trying out, learn the local customs. And what I mean by that is, in some countries, nodding means no and shaking your head means yes. And in some countries, the peace sign means you're flipping somebody off. And other hand signals mean different things in different countries. So make sure you know what the local customs are. That's really important. In certain countries, women have to cover their hair and their arms and their legs, or just their hair. So make sure you know, if you're going to a Muslim country, you need to be respectful of the culture. Don't try to be different. Don't try to make a point. That's not cool, okay? It's just not cool. So make sure that you do study that before you leave. That's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is, which leads right into this, is to become a master of charades. And seriously, don't be shy. Body language is a universal tool. Pointing, smiling, either nodding or shaking your head, depending on where you are, and using gestures can get you surprisingly far. Like if you're looking for food and you can't find it and you're hungry, you can pretend to eat and just say, where? And sweep your hand around. Where can I eat? Where? As long as this doesn't mean something negative in the country that you're in, which you will have researched before you do that. But it's really fun. It sounds silly, but it really works, and it often leads to people laughing. It kind of breaks down barriers. So I did this. I was in China for a couple months, and I knew some Chinese, but not enough to really get around. Barely any, but a little bit. I could count. So, and if I couldn't, I could do this, right? I mean, that's pretty universal. But again, check and make sure, because some places they count differently, okay? But in China, I used a lot of hand gestures. And I basically pantomimed my way through China, and it was super awesome. And people would just break out laughing, and I would have these really great interactions with people, especially the older folks. And it was really fun, and it really worked. So I highly recommend that. You know, maybe you're looking for a train and you can. I won't tell you what I did when I was looking for a bathroom, but I'm sure you can imagine, and I did. I really, really, really did use that. Maybe not the best universal hand gesture for finding a bathroom, and it worked. So I'm just saying, you got to get creative. All right, we are on a roll. But before we jump into the last 2 tips, if you're loving these travel hacks, please make sure that you're subscribed so you get them all and you get all the content that I have on the channel, because I got a lot of content for moving abroad. And also, please join my newsletter. It's free. You get some free downloadables to help you with your move, and the link is below. Okay, now tip number 5. It's a game changer, especially when you're tired and you just need to get back to your hotel. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So have photos on your phone of either your hotel's address, written in the local language, and this is incredibly helpful for either taxi or Uber drivers. You can also use pictures of landmarks to find your way back, or what I do is I take a screenshot. Not only do I put it on Google and say where I am, but sometimes I just take a screenshot after I zoom in to the intersection of the hotel or wherever I'm staying, so that I can always find my way back. If something happens to Google, if I'm offline or I can't get to a map, then I can show somebody and ask them how to get back to where I am. And usually if you're lost and you're looking for people who speak English and you're looking for somewhere, you go into a hotel. You can go into any hotel. Most people that work in hotels do speak English, and they can show you how to get places, and they can maybe even give you a physical map. Okay, but that wasn't the tip. That was a little side tip. So the tip is to have the photos on your phone, and maybe there's food that you want to try, but you can't pronounce the name. For example, in Portugal would be a francesinha. And you've always wanted to try a francesinha, and you definitely should. And if you're vegan like me, then they have vegan francesinhas too, and they're delicious. But either way, regardless of what you like to eat, if you want to try a local delicacy and it's hard to pronounce the name, you can have a photo of it on your phone to show people and ask where you can find it. I love that. And then to round all of this up, tip number 6, the most important thing is your attitude. Please be patient. Please stay calm. Please smile. Be kind, and people will be willing to help you generally. I've actually not been anywhere where people weren't willing to help me. And look at this as an adventure, not as a barrier. And know that mistakes will happen. And that is part of the fun. Many of the mistakes will be hilarious. And I've got more than several stories of ridiculous and funny mistakes that I've made. And it just turns into fun, right? And I forgot to cover this in the phrases to learn section, but make sure you learn how to say, "Can you please help me? Excuse me, I need some help," in the language that you're learning, in the place that you're going. Don't let a language barrier hold you back from your dream, because with these tools and a positive mindset, you can navigate anywhere in the world. I would love to hear what your go-to tips for traveling without speaking the language are. Please share them in the comments below. And if you found this content helpful, please subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video. Ciao! I'm